From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Mike Krueger. It's your evening update, and as I'm recording this, we're going to take a look at the earlier radar, and it's kind of progressed through the afternoon. So as expected, around midday, we started to see those thunderstorms pop up, especially into Lassen, Plumas, and even parts of Modoc County. Then very quickly, we started to see those thunderstorms begin to flare up. And as expected, we started to see the overall coverage of the thunderstorms begin to intensify, and also started to see a lot of lightning strikes, so making its way into Siskiyou, Modoc, Lassen, really pretty much the eastern mountains in general, and even into northern portions of Trinity County. Severe thunderstorm warnings throughout the afternoon, especially out in Siskiyou and even parts of Lassen and Plumas counties. We could be looking at more severe thunderstorm warnings as we go into the evening hours as well. We're also seeing some of those showers begin to make their way into parts of the valley, and this afternoon around the Red Bluff area. So we could still see more thunderstorm activity here develop later this afternoon, later this evening that is, and as we go into tonight. But things should start to quiet down as we go into the overnight hours, but still a little bit of shower activity in some areas here overnight. So that's kind of a look at what's going on here and just how active it did get through the afternoon as expected. More thunderstorms are expected tomorrow, and really even tonight as well in some areas here, with the elevated fire risk continuing to be a problem here due to the dry lightning. Highs, kind of switching gears, talking about temperatures, they will stay below normal. In fact, well below normal through the weekend, rising as we go into early next week, but still below normal and even below 100 degrees. All right, more on all of that. We've got a lot to talk about, but first, let's get you through Krueger's Quickcast and get you through the evening tonight and through the day tomorrow. So as you can see, still some lightning strikes in the evening and overnight hours. Now, again, you'll notice no lightning strikes coming from the valley, but that's not out of the question even for parts of the valley to maybe see some activity here this evening and tonight. But by tomorrow morning, there actually may still be a stray sprinkle or a light shower for parts of the valley. But overall, we're really not seeing a lot of wet weather to start the day off tomorrow morning. But that is going to change as again we go through the afternoon. Now look at those flare-ups. You can see very quickly how clear the skies were, and then as we got that daytime heating, we had the convection, those thunderstorms began to pop up. Now you can clearly see the swirling area of low pressure from the water vapor image here, but we'll take a look at that here in just a bit. Severe outlook for tomorrow. There you can still see that chance for thunderstorms even for parts of the valley. But I do think all of the mountains, including Trinity County and maybe even the eastern parts of Humboldt and Delnor counties, possibly seeing some of those thunderstorms as well. There's a look at the potential for dry lightning strikes, but quite honestly, anywhere we see thunderstorms, I think there could be the potential for dry lightning strikes. All right, so let's take a look at Futurecast here for the rest of the night tonight. And as you can see, it's not as intense, and the overall coverage is not quite what we're seeing here this afternoon. However, you'll notice parts of the valley still seeing some activity, even in Siskiyou County. By midnight tonight, it's really wrapping itself up, but look at the valley and look at the surrounding foothills. We're still seeing the potential for a stray shower, a stray sprinkle as we go into the early morning hours on Friday for parts of the valley. But then that's done with as we get around midday, because now what we're looking at here is the thunderstorms already beginning to flare up, including Trinity County. Now you'll notice they kind of just flare up through the afternoon. There's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. Most of it at this point will be in the mountains, but as we approach those evening hours, you can see even the valley could see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm as we go into Friday afternoon, Friday evening. But look how strong some of these thunderstorms are expected to be. We could be looking at more severe thunderstorm warnings, and with that, you're talking heavy rainfall, gusty winds, hail, maybe some quarter-size hail, and frequent lightning, and with that lightning, the potential for dry lightning. Now, very quickly, as we do go into the overnight hours on Friday, it does start to kind of wrap itself up, but I do expect to see a chance for some more thunderstorms on Saturday. But I think the main event with these thunderstorms is today and tomorrow, getting a bit quieter as we go into the weekend, but still the potential for thunderstorms. So looking at your forecast for tomorrow, again, notice the mountains. That's where we're seeing the thunderstorms. However, You'll notice no lightning strikes coming from the valley, but we still could see some lightning strikes in the valley tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and even in places like, say, Willow Creek and Hoopa. So let's take a look at your 7-day forecast, starting off with the valley. As you can see, that chance on Friday. Then we go into the weekend, should be dry. Temperatures staying well below normal. It's warming up next week, but still below 100 degrees and really even still below normal for this time of the year. For the coast, low 60s. Inland, maybe that chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon. I think for Weaverville, Trinity County, yes, you're seeing the thunderstorms. I think a bit of a break even for Trinity County on Saturday, but then maybe another chance coming in for Sunday into early next week. And for Siskiyou, Modoc County, Eastern Mountains, I think all of these areas could see chances for thunderstorms all the way through the weekend. A bit of a break on Monday, Tuesday, and then maybe out towards Siskiyou and Modoc County, a slight chance for showers and thunderstorms again for next Wednesday. So again, the main event is today and tomorrow. And you know what? You can track the storms from the free Weather NorCal app. Now, here's a really cool thing about the free Weather NorCal app is before the National Weather Service actually issues the warning, it goes to the app first. So you will actually get warned before anybody else who doesn't have the Weather NorCal app. So be sure to download it for free today. You can get those warnings. Make sure you put the push notifications on there and you'll get those warnings whenever they come out for your area. But there's all kinds of other great features with the free Weather NorCal app. So just search for Weather NorCal, space between Weather and NorCal. Download the app for free, and I think you're going to like what you see. All right, let's take a look at that fire weather forecast sponsored by Garmin's Tractor Service. Now, we do have that red flag warning that's been really extended through Friday. So for Friday through Friday night. Now, again, you'll notice no red flag warning for the Eastern Mountains, but I still think, as we saw and will see, there's more thunderstorms in the forecast for tomorrow. Now, the gusts, they are mainly we're looking at gusty winds from the thunderstorms that develop tomorrow afternoon, but not necessarily from just the overall wind pattern. The wind's not as strong Saturday. You'll notice the stronger winds are off to the east because I think that's where most of the thunderstorms will be, which we'll get into that in a second. So I was talking about a little bit earlier in Krueger's Quickcast about those thunderstorms flaring up. But look at this satellite water vapor image. If you look closely, you'll see a bit of a spin in the atmosphere south of San Francisco. That's the area of low pressure. It tapped into a little bit of that monsoon moisture, and as a result, that was the moisture source we needed for those thunderstorms. So as you saw a little bit earlier, all of the mountains, including eastern Humboldt and Del Norte counties, and even parts of the valley, could see some thunderstorms for tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Now, I still think there's a potential for some dry lightning strikes outside of the areas in brown. In fact, anywhere we see thunderstorms, you got the potential for dry lightning strikes. Saturday, I think the Storm Prediction Center is overdoing it on the overall coverage of the thunderstorms, including the valley. So let's show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see, as we go into tonight, we took a look at this earlier. We'll take another look at it for those of you that want to just get a detailed look. 10 o'clock tonight, we're still seeing some showers out towards the north and maybe even the valley, seeing a stray shower or even a thunderstorm into the evening and into tonight. It starts to quiet down. You notice it's not the overall coverage, but you see what's happening? There may be a stray sprinkle or a light shower through the early morning hours for parts of the valley. And then by midday Friday, thunderstorms beginning to pop up. They pop up pretty quickly by the mid-afternoon hours. By the late afternoon, early evening, now we're seeing the valley getting caught up in some of the action. And as I mentioned earlier, severe thunderstorm warnings are a very good possibility. Heavy rainfall, gusty winds, quarter-size hail, frequent lightning, the works with these thunderstorms. You can see it quiets down by Friday night. Then we go into Saturday. Now, Saturday morning, look what happens. It's completely dry, even the valley. And then by the afternoon, the thunderstorms are popping up mainly to the east. Last in Plumas County, maybe even Modoc County, and maybe eastern Siskiyou County. But it's not showing any activity for western Siskiyou or for Trinity County. And for now, I'm going to leave that out of the forecast. I'm going to leave the thunderstorms out of the forecast for the areas not indicated by Futurecast. We'll see what happens. But that's what I've got here for Saturday for now. Then by Saturday night, it's pretty much done with, and I do expect quieter conditions really from that point forward. In fact, we take a look at Futurecast. This is the American forecast model that we're looking at here. It's really not showing much here as we go into your Sunday afternoon. Then Monday, and it depends on which model you look at. So there are going to be points in time next week that we could be looking at chances for some afternoon showers and thunderstorms popping up, especially to the north, places like Siskiyou and Modoc counties here as we go into Tuesday and maybe even Wednesday of next week. All right, so let's switch gears now and talk about the temperatures. The mild air is in place, and that's the reason why our temperatures are about 10, even over 10 degrees below normal. That's the case through most likely the weekend. Then that mild air moves out, and that's going to allow the heat over the desert Southwest to at least build into Northern California. It won't be directly over us. As you can clearly see, it's still pretty far to our east, but that heat is going to be allowed to expand into Northern California. So instead of the upper 80s and low 90s that we've been experiencing, will be more like the mid to upper 90s, but still below 100 degrees pretty much through all of next week. So yes, it is going to be warmer next week, but it's not going to be 100, and it's not going to be, well above normal for this time of the year. In fact, it'll be below. So there you can see temperatures as we go through the weekend, upper 80s, low 90s for Redding. And then it's upper 90s, just kind of steady between 97, 98 degrees through all of next week, even into that next weekend. Now for places like Chico, I think it'll be closer to the mid 90s and probably mid to upper 90s for places like, say, Red Bluff, for example. All right, there's a look at your wave heights. We're going to take you into the next couple of days, and you have to look closely to see any change there. You can see the clock moving, but we're not really seeing those wave heights change much. So that's good because these are low enough that it's not going to create any issues for those of you that need to be on a small boat. However, there will be some of that patchy, dense fog. All right, here is your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Let's get you to it. And you can see, I've got that thunderstorm activity for you on Friday, maybe a break on Saturday, then a chance comes Sunday and Monday. And you'll notice it's warming up for next week, really across the board, with the exception of the coast. The coast staying in the low 60s here for the next 7 days. And the coast staying dry with the exception of maybe some drizzle associated with some of that fog. Now, I have included a chance for showers and thunderstorms for places like Orleans, Hoopa, Willow Creek, but west of that, I think it will remain dry. For Siskiyou County, thunderstorms on Friday, and then a chance for Saturday, Sunday, maybe a bit of a break for Monday, Tuesday, then maybe another chance on Wednesday. But again, this is something I mentioned earlier. The main event with these thunderstorms will be today, what we've seen today, and we'll see again here for tomorrow. Then on Saturday, Sunday, yes, you see the thunderstorms for Saturday, Sunday, but they won't be as widespread. They won't be as intense, but we still got the potential for even the eastern mountains throughout the weekend. And then it looks like the eastern mountains will see that break, but warming up as we go through next week. All right, so your valley neighborhood forecast to the south, there's that chance for showers and thunderstorms, especially by late afternoon, early evening, but we could even see a stray sprinkle light shower in the early morning hours on Friday. That's the case for Chico as well, but there's that warmer weather for next week in the low to mid 90s for Monday through Thursday of next week. Your valley neighborhood forecast to the north, look for a high of 91 for the city of Shasta Lake, 90 for Redding, and look at 88 degrees out in Cottonwood, 87 for Red Bluff. All right, here's your 7-day forecast for Redding. There's that chance for showers, possible thunderstorms, even tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Down to 89 on Saturday, and then you can see it warms up for next week, generally between 97 and 98 degrees. Well, that is your evening update. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and live on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30. Have yourselves a great night.
Fire spreads quickly. Don't wait until it's too late. Garmin's Tractor Service specializes in field mowing and light tractor work to help protect your family, your property, and those around you. We're fully insured, locally licensed, and ready to help you create the defensible space you need. Call or text Garmin's Tractor Service today. Protect what matters before fire strikes you.